In Bleach, Aizen was a captain who tricked the Soul Society by faking his own death, only to be revealed to be evil later on. We know that Black Clover creator Yuki Tabata inputs a lot of Bleach references into his series and that he loves Bleach. So what if he's doing this as well for Julius Novachrono, and is making his own take on the characterization of Aizen? Julius is the Wizard King, a similar but higher position to what Aizen had, and he had his own fake death in the series as well. Both Aizen and Julius are trying to change their societies, as Aizen sees the corruption in the Soul Society, and that is why he wants to overtake it and kill the Soul King. Meanwhile, Julius has become the Wizard King of the Clover Kingdom and is actively working to change society for the betterment of all citizens of the kingdom, with the reveal that there is a fourth Zogratis Sibling, the oldest sibling of the four, who is also a devil host, and with the top three devils being Gravity, Space, and Time, and while Dante has the Gravity Devil, Lucifero, and Zenon has the Space Devil, Beelzebub, Vanica only has the Curse Devil, Magicula, meaning that the Time Devil is left out, who is probably Astaroth, but that would likely be the eldest sibling's devil, who at the moment is a mysterious figure. But if he has the Time Devil, which is a devil that he should have since he is a better devil host than Vanica and Dante, then what does this mean for Julius? That's right, in this theory, not only am I drawing the Aizen connection to Julius Novachrono, but also that he very well could be the eldest of the Zogratis siblings. In chapter 306 of the Black Clover manga, we get to see multiple images of the eldest Zogratis sibling. He has black hair, and he has a facial structure that is very similar to Julius's. We also know that he is possibly paralyzed as he is in a wheelchair. And we also know that he is a talented devil host. But why am I making so many correlations between Julius Novachrono and this eldest Zogratis sibling? Well, it would make a lot of sense for him to be so. If him and Zenon are more talented than Vanica and Dante, then he should be contracted with an incredibly powerful devil, one of the top three devils. Zenon already has Beelzebub, which is the Space Devil, a top three devil, and Dante has Lucifero, the Gravity Devil, which is a top three devil. The only one that is left is the Time Devil, and if he has the Time Devil, that adds a direct correlation to Julius, a Time Mage. Julius has time magic, but those keen-eyed in the fandom know that Julius also has some form of transformation magic, as he can turn himself into an old woman, and also as an old man, and they both look completely different from him. He is not aging himself. He turned into a different man, and he turned himself into a woman. This has to be some form of transformation magic. We have to remember that being hosted with a devil is one of the only ways that one can have two magic types in Black Clover. The other is being a hybrid, like with Charmy, or being one of Morse's experiments, like with Mars and Fauna. So this theory already starts off as incredibly likely since we know for a fact that Julius has two magic types, and time magic. Not only this, but Julius looks like he could be related to both Zenon and the eldest brother, especially when you color Julius's hair black. He looks a lot like them. He also looks like a brother to young Zenon. When you compare child Julius to Zenon, they look alike. Julius's own innate magic is transformation magic, likely, or some form of that, which could very well be a magic that is related to the Zogratis siblings. You have bone, blood, and body magic, whereas Julius is able to change the very structure of his body. This further implies that Julius is possibly related to the Zogratis siblings and is the oldest one. Now there are some things to go over. The fact that the oldest sibling is possibly paralyzed and he has black hair. Well, the black hair could easily be addressed by just simple hair dye, but remember, this is a fantasy series and Julius has transformation magic. He can easily change the color of his hair. We also know that Julius can use time magic to heal himself. If his legs or spine were injured prior to attaining the Time Devil, he would be able to easily reverse the wounds on his legs or spine with time magic and grant himself the ability to walk. Or, with transformation magic, he could just display that he is actually walking when he's really not. He may have just given his legs to the Time Devil so that he can walk. Kind of like with Asta's devil arm, but he does this for his legs or maybe his spine. Now what I think could have possibly happened is that at some point after Alan's death, Julius Zogratis leaves the Spade Kingdom to begin building things up and joining their Magic Knights, and also amassing merit to become a captain and then a Wizard King. He may have faked his own death to the Dark Triad so that they would assume that their oldest brother is dead and stop worrying about him, and when he's now in the Clover Kingdom, Julius uses his devil, mana-amped transformation magic to hide the evidence of his devil contract from everybody else, and especially Damnatio. But either Julius was never truly evil, or he was evil and the Time Devil changed him, or he was evil and then the Clover Kingdom changed him. Because this is not an evil Julius theory. He simply cannot be evil, as he's his own inner monologue that essentially proves he has to be good at this point, because he's thinking to himself of his goals and motivations that he wants to save the Clover Kingdom and save its populace. He wouldn't be thinking about this unless if Julius has the awareness that there is an audience reading his story, which would essentially be a fourth wall breaking power, and he wants to trick the audience, which I really don't see here. That would be incredibly powerful for him to do, but I don't see that. So this is kind of like a reverse Aizen theory, because Aizen was kind of the bad guy, Julius is doing what Aizen did, but as the good guy. Now, as for more Aizen references, we know that in Bleach, Aizen was manipulating everything. He was playing 4D chess before it was cool, and he played everybody like a puppet. He even made it so that Rukia would be stationed in the same town as Ichigo. He made it so that Ichigo would be forced into stressful situations to enhance his power, and we have a plethora of evidence that Julius has been doing the same thing here, or at least someone with time magic. You can check out my Asta was sent forward in time theory, which makes it very possible that Asta was sent forward in time after he was dropped off at the church, which is an Aizen-like move that Julius could be capable of. We also know that Julius sent two rookies, Asta and Yuno, into the dungeon. When they got out, they both received respective power-ups that would only work for them. Yuno was chosen by the Wind Spirit itself, Bell, and Asta found one of Lick's swords, the Demon Dweller sword. What are the odds that Julius, someone with vast amounts of knowledge of the world, and with time magic that allows him to see the future, that he sends Asta and Yuno into this dungeon just so they can both get a massive power-up that directly relates to them? Also, one of the interesting moments is right after this when Asta and Yuno successfully complete this mission and they return to talk to Julius. Asta opens his grimoire, which is full of devil language, and he says, "Wizard King, some weird writing showed up in my grimoire too." And he shows it to him, the open grimoire. Julius looks at it and says, "That's," and then he changes his position to, "I cannot read it at all. I've never seen this writing in documents." He goes from "that's," like he recognizes it, to changing his position. Is he changing his position because he doesn't want to reveal that he knows about devil language? Which, remember that Lumiere, as the Wizard King, 500 years ago, knew about the devils. If Julius is also a wandering spirit like Lumiere, where he loves to learn magic, he should know stuff like this, but he does not recognize the devil language. Also, what I have said as some of the only poor writing in Black Clover was Julius's power level, progression, and portrayal against Patri. If he truly was above all of his captains in every single way, he should have easily been able to capture Patri, but he did not, and this may be because he foresaw the future. It was all a part of his plan. He did not want to kill Zagrid. He needed Zagrid to push Asta and Yuno beyond their limits. Remember, Yuno drastically enhanced his wind spirit and his own wind power against Zagrid, even learning the Zephyr spell. He also allowed Asta to enhance his black form to 2 horns, as well as allowing him to transcend to his black divider. Furthermore, if Julius just kills Zagrid, then Asta never gets to see Licht use the swords properly and learn from it. Yami never gets Mana's own, etc. Also, somehow, Julius loses his adult form against the Ancient Demon just seconds before Asta shows up. If this dude can sense that Asta might die in 6 months in advance, then he can sense that Asta will be there in a few seconds. Nah, he was playing all of us. I think he intentionally changed back into a kid because he knew that Asta would show up and reveal his devil union. Which, man, you want to talk about Yami and William and Julius's grand plan? Arcane World Tree Magic and Arcane Dark Magic, the 2 very magic types needed to create the advent of the Tree of Qliphoth, and Julius somehow brings both of them into the Magic Knights? Yeah, that's kind of sus. Julius definitely did not just stumble into them accidentally. He knew their importance, and that is why he was so adamant about bringing them in. This could possibly be because he foresaw a better future if they had become Magic Knights and then eventually captains. We also have to remember that Julius' magic not only manipulates time, but it steals time, which sounds a lot more like a devil magic type than a non-devil magic type. I know people are going to doubt this theory. Remember, it is just a fan theory. People get too crazy when it comes to fan theories. The whole point of them is to try and predict the plot, not make a claim that this is absolutely going to happen, though some people just lack basic common sense these days. But we know for a fact that Zenon and the oldest Zogratis Sibling are the 2 most potent devil hosts. Vanica is clearly the worst because she had the weakest devil of the triad and can only use 70% of his power. Dante has Lucifero of gravity. Zenon has Beelzebub of space, meaning that if the oldest Zogratis Sibling, if the brother, is really in a different class of a devil host quality compared to Dante, then he must have the Time Devil. And if he has the Time Devil, he would have 2 magic types, and one of those would be Time Magic. Julius has Time Magic and has 2 magic types. and we have essentially no information about his life before the Magic Knights in the manga. When it comes to a lot of characters' flashbacks, we will see much younger versions of themselves. We do not ever see this with Julius. The only time we see him as a youngin is in the present day as a child, and probably just his transformation magic, as him being a child is what partially forced everyone to train and get stronger anyways. There is a lot more to Julius. Whether or not Julius is a Zogratis, I do believe that Tabata is making him the reverse of Aizen. He is using his masterful planning for good. While it may lead to some deaths, and whether that is subjectively moral or not, if Julius can use this time magic to know for a fact that what he is doing is ultimately better for humanity and creating a better future, can you really blame him and claim he is evil? I don't think he is. He ultimately try and change the society of the continent, and to make things even more interesting symbolically, Julius has been a Christ-like figure. I made an entire video dedicated to this topic, but he was a symbolic figure like Christ who died because he was betrayed by one of his followers, buried in a cave, and then resurrected. Julius having transformation magic would also have a tie-in to Jesus transforming water into wine. But also, if Julius is this Christ-like figure, and he is with a devil contract, it would be incredibly interesting because, in this theory, he may be contracted with a devil, and if that's the case, he's a Christ-like figure already, which would signify the unification of the Christ working together with an Antichrist to change the world. So yeah, that's my theory, that we know for a fact that Black Clover takes so much inspiration from Bleach, and then you have the image of Julius doing as Moses did in the throne. Already the similarities between Julius and Aizen, that they were both military leaders, both faked their deaths, quote unquote, faked their deaths, it's not exactly the same, came back to life, both are masterful planners. I think that Julius is going to be like Aizen, but more so in the good. Basically, what if Aizen was good, but that's going to be Julius, and then he might be the oldest brother of the Zogratis siblings. Either way, there has to be some sort of connection because of time magic, and it just has to be super likely that the oldest brother of the Zogratis would have the Time Devil. It makes no sense for him to be a better devil host than Dante, to have a bona fide lower rank, because we know that the Time, Space, and Gravity Devils are all on the last gate together, and we know that Lilith and Nama are pretty much equal in power, and they're on the same gate, which it might mean that Beelzebub and then Lucifero and probably Astaroth will be the Time Devil, would all be the same power as well. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this theory down below, guys. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, comment your thoughts, subscribe, turn notifications. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Plus...